Alright, yo guys, Thrive here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be coming at you with an in-depth but condensed Valorant aim guide. So essentially I'm going to be giving you guys some beginner tips and tricks to help you improve your aim and get more wins when playing Valorant. So I'm going to break this video down into 5 parts or 5 different tips. I'm going to be breaking these 5 tips down into 5 different time codes that you can find down in the description. So if I'm talking about something that doesn't interest you, there may be the 4 other points that do, so just have a look down there and you can dive straight to them. Okay, so for tip number 1, we're going to be talking about finding your sensitivity. I would highly recommend that you have like an extra large mouse pad, one that kind of covers a lot of, if not your whole desk. Mine personally covers literally the majority of my desk. It just means that you can obviously have more reach with your arm without knocking things or without having to like play from your wrist, which is something we're going to talk about later on in the video. So generally, sensitivity is a pretty tough one to cover because it really comes down to you and where you feel comfortable with your sensitivity. One thing that I would recommend is coming to the middle of the shooting range, finding like a midpoint and just doing a 180 in both directions. If you can't do a 180-degree turn without like hitting something or without having to like reset your hand and move your mouse back and drag it more, then you're going to want to increase your sensitivity. You're going to want to be able to at least do that 180 turn without any form of struggle. As you guys can see here, I play on a 0.65 sensitivity with 400 DPI. You can do with that information what you will. If you want to try it, then definitely go for it. You may find that it works for you. But as I said, sensitivity really does have to come down to where you feel comfortable. You want to basically be able to flick if you need to, but not flick so much that you're like whizzing past someone's head and turning all the way around. But you also want your sensitivity to be slow enough so that you're keeping a nice, steady and consistent aim without whiffing shots that, should be easy. To put it simply, you should be making turns and be ending up facing the complete opposite direction. So as I mentioned earlier on in the video about playing from your wrist, this is something that you really need to change if you are doing it. For me personally, I came from Fortnite and it's something that I did a lot before starting Valorant. But what I found coming into this game is that you really need to be able to keep that consistent aim at all times. Everything needs to be smooth, everything needs to be consistent. Just to give you a working example of it, if I show you playing from my forearm, obviously I can get these nice 180-degree turns that I was showing you earlier on. Whereas if I was playing from my wrist still, I can really only get, halfway there, like maybe just over halfway there while aiming. And also it's not accurate. You're not going to be able to be completely accurate with that. Whereas if you can keep that nice fluid motion at all times, you're always going to end up being consistent with your shots. And that is the most important factor in this game. It's your accuracy. It has to be consistent. If you aren't going to be consistent, somebody else is, and that is the difference between you winning or losing. With that being said, I'm not saying to completely forget about playing from your wrist. Once you can kind of hybrid between the two, it can actually help you out quite a lot because it can become something quite situational. When you're in a situation where you can keep these fluid movements, but maybe you need to flick back quickly to shoot someone who just popped around the corner that you noticed at the last second. If you're put in a situation like that, being able to do both is better, in my opinion. So the second tip that I wanted to cover in this video is utilizing aim trainers. Aim trainers are something that you can find both in and out of game. Now, I'm sure if you already have experience playing video games on computer, you've already heard of a program called Kovacs. This is an aim trainer that you can use outside of the game. But what I personally recommend is coming into Valorant, coming into their own built-in aim trainer and utilizing what we have right in front of us. Obviously, we have the full weapons menu. We can use anything we want, which means that we can practice any weapon that we need to in the game. If you guys press F3 on your keyboard while at the aim trainer, it'll bring up this. So this basically gives you the different difficulties and different things that you can kind of do with the aim trainer in game. It goes from easy, medium to hard. This basically changes the amount of seconds that the bot will stay on your screen for before disappearing. Come into the game, warm up using the easy mode, get into medium. If you can get into hard, definitely do it. The further that you can get in these speeds just means your aim is more consistent, it's better all around, and that's what you're striving for here. The elimination option, basically if you click start, it'll spawn 100 bots at random locations on the map, and I'm pretty sure that they don't disappear. So it kind of gives you as much time needed to find them. It just means that you have to pay attention and really, be switched on to try and find all these bots, to basically try and do it as fast as you can. So what I recommend doing is trying to treat this as almost like a mini game. Obviously you have a timer up there, you have your bots remaining up there. Try and just see how fast you can do it and then keep trying to beat that every single time. And then what you can do is you can spawn bots in front of you. This will just spawn bots right in front of you, as it says, it's right there, and you can just shoot them anytime you like. They'll respawn as you go. And that is basically it. Another thing that I recommend doing while having these on strafe is to not just stay at one location around the map, because more often than not you're going to be coming out of corners and you're going to have to take quick shots and then duck back in. So even if you can just be strafing around on the spot while shooting at these dummies, that's going to help you massively. And just little movements is fine. Like obviously you can come out, you can shoot. When you're shooting, stand still, start moving again, stand still, start moving again, stand still, start moving again. Just try and get consistent with it, try and keep it nice and smooth, and just see what you can do with it. So tip number 3 that I wanted to cover in this video is controlling recoil and shooting correctly. Now I'm not going to go into detail with all the guns. If that's something that you want to see, then drop a like on the video and comment down below letting me know that you want me to go through each individual weapon and go through the correct ways to fire them and how to control the recoil of these weapons. You kind of have 3 main weapons that get used in this game at the moment. That's the Spectre, the Phantom, and the Vandal. For this video, I'm just going to focus on the Vandal. before. Basically, if you get a Vandal out and you come and shoot at a wall, I'm not going to move my mouse at all. I'm just going to shoot, and you can see the way the gun moves naturally in the game. You can see the natural bloom that is in the game. So as you can see, it goes up, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, and it kind of goes back and forth in that scenario. So that means that having your aimer on something, you know, you can have it on the head, eventually it's going to go off it, and that means that you need to adjust to that recoil. So what I recommend doing is just coming down to the wall, firing, and trying in the pattern that you can move to try and keep your aimer as perfect as possible. And what I've found is that's pulling down slightly to the right and then slightly to the rest, and then keeping that consistent while you're spraying. So as you can see, that's a lot better than what it looks like when it's just naturally sprayed. Obviously that's natural, and what I just did there is me trying to control the recoil. This is something that just takes time. You have to put time in to learn the way the guns recoil and the way that you can move to adjust for that recoil. But that being said, there's never really going to be a situation in game where you're firing all 30 rounds into somebody. Obviously, if you watch the way the gun fires, it does fire straight for the first maybe 5 to 7 bullets before it starts pulling up the wall. So what I personally recommend is firing at 5 to 7 bursts. That means if you're getting your headshot and you're firing just for 5 bullets, you're never really gonna miss those headshots too often. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be way more accurate than if you were to just be like holding down your spray trying to adjust the aim. Whereas if you're taking your time, taking those 5 bursts, you're gonna hit those shots. And that right there kind of leads us into the next tip that I wanted to cover in this video. So tip number 4 that I wanted to cover is crosshair placement. Now if you watch any professional player play Valorant or CSGO or a game similar to that, they go into fights basically pre-aiming headshots, and they rarely ever miss that headshot. What you'll find is with most new players coming into Valorant or coming into games like Counter-Strike is a lot of them will pre-aim bodies. That is just your natural placement because you know that the body is way bigger than the head, so the body's obviously easier to hit. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get the kill. If you go into a game like Valorant around a corner and see someone and you're shooting them in the body but they're shooting you in the head, it doesn't matter whether you put 3 rounds into them. If they put that 1 round to your head, you will die first. And that is where you need to work on your crosshair placement. Your crosshair should be head high at all times. You should never be aiming for the body. And like I said in the previous tip, use that burst spray. Don't hold it down and try and adjust the aim. Just use that burst spray. Even if you're only bursting 3-4 bullets at a time, as long as those 3-4 bullets are all headshots, you're always going to get that kill first. And then this again leads me on to the 5th and final tip of this video, and that is how to correctly peek enemies to win your fights. Now at the moment you're seeing a lot of people playing this game kind of like running and gunning, and that's not the way you should be playing this game. You need to slow that pace right down. You should be shift walking as much as you can, not giving away information, and collecting as much information as you can. The more you know about the enemy, the better. The less they know about you, the better. Obviously, if you're walking around just open-footed at all times, people can track you through walls with that. They know exactly where you are. If you're shift walking, they're not going to know you're there. If they aren't, you know they're there. And once you know that they're there, you don't need to go running around the corner to try and spray into them. You can play your angles. You can play your peaks. If you know there's somebody on the other side of this wall, for example, you can sit here with your aimer, again, crosshair placement at head height, ready to go. And then the second that they show themselves on that corner, bang. That's it. That's all it requires. This game is really all about playing your angles and, like I said, gathering information. If you're coming to a corner that no one has been to and that you haven't been to, say you're late coming to it from spawn, and there's a corner here and then there's another corner here, which means there could be 2 people on either corner. You don't want to come just running around the corner ready to go, because you're going to have a person on 2 sides just ready to beam you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. What you want to be doing is come into that corner, getting your crosshair placement so that you know that you're going to hit the headshot, give it a little peek. If there's nothing there, you're gathering information. You know that there's unlikely somebody there, but still you proceed with caution. If you peek and there's someone there, your crosshair is already head high, which means all you have to do is pull the trigger. It's all about taking your time and clearing one angle at a time. So that is really everything that I need to cover in this video. If you put all of those things together, finding your sensitivity, crosshair placement, learning the way the gun recoils, getting those peaks nice and consistent, playing slow. You don't need to be running around corners. This isn't Fortnite. You don't go running and jumping around corners and hoping that you're going to hit the headshot, because it just doesn't work like that. Take it slow. The pace is slow. That's the way the game should be. It's all about information. The more you have, the less they have, the better. Put time into really crafting everything I've gone over in this video, and you will literally be an aim god by the end of it. But that is it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's any other videos that you want to see like this in future. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you're updated on every upload that I release, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Go dummy, go beast, I go beast, go deep,